Hey there, this is Mike Pearl from the Digital Transformation Project team. In this video, we're going to go over the general tab of the event form. We've done a video of this already, however, it's changed so much that I wanted to shoot a new one just to try to capture all the new features that we have. So I'm just going to pretend like no one's ever seen this before and start from scratch. So at the very top, we've got a header row that gives us some information about the overall event. So whether it's been submitted for approval, the current status of the approval process. In the event summary section, we built in the ability for regions to be able to save as a template, and therefore they would also be able to create from a template. And so if I hit this search tool, it shows me the different templates that are available. And pretty soon, once we go live with this, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch more to choose from. And so you'll have the ability to look up more records and pick the one that you want. Certain people also have the permission, once they have everything filled out, they can save this as a template. And if they do so, then they'll start seeing that show up here as well for the new events that they create. The event name, in most cases you can type whatever you want. However, we did build in certain hard-coded functionality. So depending on the event type that you pick, sometimes the event name will get locked down as well. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we choose some kind of national training event, you can see the lock icon shows up. And if we pick something like a train the trainer, then as soon as I hit save, this event name is going to change to the hard-coded value for that train the trainer. Let me show you what that looks like. So if we put in a couple basic pieces of info here that are required, we can hit save. Oops, forgot about the time. Let's save that here. You can see these lock icons show up. And what that means is that those particular fields are hard-coded to match this particular subtype. And so once it's done saving, it'll bring in a bunch of those values. There we go. So you can see it brought in all these different values here. And that's just if you pick specific subtypes. So you still have the ability to pick the, if you accidentally hit that or you're just kind of looking around, you can hit some of these other things and pick whatever you really want. Let's say it's a service project. And you can see those fields basically are no longer required, and you can go back in and change them again. So we have start date and time, we have the overall time zone, we've got a lot of different categories for the type of event. Down here we have the event registration status, so the minimum, maximum, whether or not the wait list is turned on. And unfortunately, we're dealing with a Microsoft bug, and so I'm shooting this in the beginning of November. They're thinking it's going to be another couple weeks before the waitlist feature works. And so even right now, if you have this set to yes, it may not work for a few weeks or so, they tell us. So more to come on that. We also have a prereq area so that you can select from the list of prerequisites that are in the system if this is something that you need for them to be able to do or to do before they can sign up for your event. TR101 is now the primary one instead of module 1, so we're going to go ahead and add that. Here we have a new field where we can put in the name of something. So let's say this is the West Seattle VFW. Okay. We still have this search feature here, and so every address that you put in, this one's probably going to fail because that's not a real thing. Well, let's accept it anyway. Looks like there is a South Main Street, so what do you know? Anytime we put in an address, we want to try to geo-verify it if we can. This activity pod is not really in use yet at the moment, but if you wanted to, you could add notes about this particular event. However, it's not hooked up to notify anybody, so they'd have to come in and look at it to see if there's anything there. The details section is where we can say whether or not the waiver is required. And the waiver in this case is the replacement for the smart waiver, so we'll no longer need to actually create a separate smart waiver. We can simply check this box, and then on the profile side, when people are in the event calendar signing up for this particular event, if this box is checked, it'll force them to agree to the participation agreement that shows up there. So this is linked to the event calendar and the participation agreement. Same with this health insurance required field. If health insurance is required, like let's say this were something that is physically demanding, let's say like a Sawyer event or something like that, then health insurance becomes required, and that's another box they have to check on the event calendar side of things. Speaking of the event calendar, if this were an event that was only internal to the territory, like maybe a leadership event or some kind of logistics cash check or something like that, then you can check this box, and even if you were to overall publish the event, it still wouldn't show up on the event calendar on the back end because we've got it hidden here. Okay, then we have, we talked about the template feature earlier. We also have the event description, and this is where you would put in the whatever copy you want in order to show up on the event calendar as well. Okay. Session details are things that are specific to this particular session of this event, and in this way we can have things that are, let's say it's a regional template and they've templated in the description that they want to show up every time. The session details would be the specific information for that instance of the event. So that way if locations change, or all of a sudden you need to get like a parking permit or whatever, like all the session specific details can go here versus the actual event details, the things that are going to happen at the event. Last but not least, we've got the uniform. We had to change this. It used to be a drop down where you'd select something, but we needed to change it in order for it to show up correctly on the event calendar, so that's why it's now a text-based field. But that's it for the general tab. Lots of improvements made since the last time we did a video for this tab. Give us another few months, I'm sure we'll have all kinds of extra things and probably have moved things around again. So we appreciate your flexibility, and we'll see you in the next video.